listening to a laughing on the dial.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Hello everyone, it's me, Bladed Dragon Sonic, back again for the Monte Carlo Prix in Season 10 of the Formula E Monopoly Championship. Last time out in Saudi Arabia, the championship could have been won by Arnett Babnis, but it wasn't. Go back and watch that race if you have the time to, if you don't know what happened. All you need to know right now is that UK Ball and Medicis are currently the two drivers most likely to topple Arnett Babnis. We are 2 races away. UK Ball is 16 points down. Medicis is 20 points down. So if Arnett Babnis leaves here with a gap ahead of either one of those 2 drivers, which is greater than 26 points, he becomes World Drivers' Champion for the first time in his career. The first Envision World Drivers' Champion. So let's head to the grid for the Monte Carlo Prix. And guess who's on pole then? UK Ball on pole from Yusuf, who's starting on the hard tyres. Then it's Mechanovic, Mohamed Wawi, and Medicis. Then it's Sierra, Marcus Nelson in the number 1 from El Carlos, and Arnett Babnis, his teammate alongside him in Revo. Then it's Catfish, Miles Stone down in 12th. Then it's Polarock, Inoculi, not Lewis Hamilton, Daf Sanchez, Gallagher and his teammate Aldridge. Then it's Batuco, Debris, Owen Lee, and Gamer Cat. Well, 2 races to go then. Nissan could have another World Drivers' title in their hands as all 5 lights go on. And we go green in Monte Carlo, covering off the outside line. There goes UK Ball to keep his lead in the Prix. Mechanovic takes 2nd place from Yusuf. He's dropped a whole position. He's dropped 2 positions as Medicis tries to go around the outside of him. He's just not got the traction to do it, but he's lucky that the track switches back on him. Mechanovic tries to take the race lead from UK Ball. He's been forced off and into the wall. Goes both drivers. They're able to keep going somehow, but Mechanovic has taken the lead of the Monte Carlo Prix as out of the race goes out Carlos. What an opening few turns we've had today in Monte Carlo. Absolutely insane happenings. El Carlos out, the top 2, out of the race. Oh my God, what's going on here? This is mad. What has happened at the swimming pool chicane? Nawawi's missing a front wing. Yusuf's missing his front wing. Nelson just about kept his front wing together, but no one behind the top 2 has kept their front wings together. In fact, Mechanovic is dangerously close to retiring from the C-Prix, but he does lead the E-Prix from UK Ball. So many things going on that opening lap. I wouldn't blame you if you couldn't keep up. On board with the UK Ball as Mechanovic sets the fastest first sector. Catfish has a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision, presumably with his teammate, as Babnis goes round the outside of him, but he sends it down the inside. Does the Malaysian driver. But back comes Babnis as out into the wall, rather, not out of the race. They both go. Down the inside goes Miles Stone. This is an amazing race we're having, and it's only lap 2. The top 2 leading the way quite comfortably, if I've got to say. I'm not a poet, I promise you. That was very close to poetry in motion. And we've got a virtual safety car out of the race. Go Sierra! And he's gone spinning. He sent out Polarock. Gallagher with a 5-second time penalty. And upside down goes Sierra. What on earth is going on? It's only lap 3. Oh my God. Out is gone in Gamercat. Not Gamercat, that is Gallagher up on 2 wheels. He had a 5-second time penalty before his world got shattered there. Gamercat with a track limits warning. What are you meant to do in this situation? It's all just gone mad. 2 races to go in the entire championship. And the penultimate one is truly mad. The top 2 go out. We've had 4 retirements in the space of 3 laps. This is a kind of statistic that you only expect to see in a place like Montreal as we go green again. The top three, separated by 1.5 seconds, they will all have DRS coming down the main straight, most likely. Babness closing in on Catfish. It was right on his back earlier, but not anymore because of that virtual safety car that we've just had to clear up debris. Not the driver. Mechanic with the fastest third sector as U-Cable gaining on him. 4 tenths, 3 tenths as we come into Casino Square. Downhill we go. And into Mirabeau. U-Cable with the fastest first sector. He's probably going to be wiser to making a move down here. And he doesn't make a move. Very smart from him to actually hold off and just think about picking your move in a different place. Yui sets the fastest third sector of anyone now. Resetting it from Mechanic, who had it earlier. My God, this is a great race we're having. And generally, the moves that you've seen, you don't actually see anywhere else. And they call this race a track where you can't overtake an F1. On Formula E, of course you can overtake. The cars are smaller. Coming down the main straight then, Mechanic leads from U-Cable and Medicis. Then it's Nelson, Catfish, and Babness. Catfish, however, remember, he's got a 5-second time penalty. Mohamed Awawi has the fastest lap of the E3, cuts the chicane. How is he able to manage with that? Batuco going pretty slow up the hill, to be honest, but it is a hill climb, so not too sure what I expected. The top three once again separating each other by about half a second, but U-Cable losing time on Mechanic ahead. Mohamed Awawi with a fastest lap, a 101.266, while his teammate gains on U-Cable ahead. Awawi seemingly trying to close in on a knock Huey ahead of him, but Medicis trying to do the same thing with the British driver ahead. And someone's gone off in that second sector, not at the chicane. Don't quite know where. Could be further down the road. They probably will have to come into the pits if it isn't a milestone. Or Sanchez, someone else has gone off. It is pretty tight through the second sector, to be honest. I think it might have been Mohamed Awawi in both instances. Unless someone else goes out of the E3. It's just so tight through there. You don't know where you're going to position your car. Where your opponent's going to position your car either. Your car, I mean their car. Nelson in 4th place. Kind of in a bit of no man's land. Because he's got, like, the closest car near him, who's actually in, like, position contention, is Babness. But he's 3 seconds back. It's not like this fight for the lead that we have as the top 3. No, just the top 2. Mechanic and U-Cable both come into the pit. So Medicis takes over the lead of the E3 with 20 to go. Nelson in 2nd. Babness and Catfish both come into the pits then. Nissan, known for not having the greatest of pit stops. Well, they've just proved it once more. They've actually lost 2 seconds to Mechanic. They were 2 tenths back when they came in. They should have been gaining somewhat rapidly, but no, they haven't. They lost out quite a bit in the pit stops there. So they're just going to have to hope that if there is a second stop necessary in the C3, which would be kind of weird because these are the best that the Wolf tyres have lasted all season. 7 laps on the soft tyres. You did this anywhere else, you'd think you'd have to be mad. U-Cable finally actually making some inroads on Mechanic. It's about 6 tenths, I want to say. 6 or 4 tenths. Depends on where they are on the track, to be honest. Lap 8, and Medicis is in. Stone is in. Ravo is in. Nelson stays out. The only one of the top guys to actually stay on his tyres. So Mechanovic in second now, and UK Ball in 8th. That gap to Mechanovic ahead is a second and 3/10 of a second. Not at all ideal for the British man. Meanwhile, the man from many nations is in Marcus Nelson, just about holding on as in to the pits comes Alan Lee, and he's got a puncture. A rear puncture for Alan Lee, and it's just not what he wanted either. So he's going to come out of this in last. And fighting with Aldridge is Sanchez on board with the Audi driver, trying to close in on Aldridge, who just got past him, remember? Well, you don't actually have to remember. We just caught them as they got past each other. So coming into the tunnel section as Nelson finally comes into the pits. Had a very good run there, but it's probably not even going to be a top 5. Catfish sets the fastest lap of the E-Prix, a 1 minute 6:33. We might actually get sub 1 minute lap times here. Marcus Nelson comes out of the pits in 6th place. So he lost out to both Catfish and Babness. And Gamercat comes into the pits on the slab as well. Aldridge pulls out to the inside on Debris, but he had rest on the car ahead of him, who I believe should have been Yusuf. Can't really tell. But coming up the hill into Casino Square, Aldridge up into 13th place. And he's literally left Debris in the dust with no true answer back to that. And his next person to cross off on his hit list is Yusuf. And he's already, and I believe he's not even side by side with him. Don't really know why he pulled out to the inside there. Mechanovic starts the 10th lap of the E-Prix, and someone's gone off, and out of the race goes Yusuf! And they've created a blockade at the swimming pool chicane. Debris with a 5-second time penalty. Aldridge with damage. No one in the top positions has gone out. And we had yellow flags in the second sector. Batuko comes in, and it was for him originally. Yui comes in. Virtual safety car ending now as the leaders make their way into that chicane. We go green again. Mechanovic coming into the chicane. It is kind of a bit of a struggle to actually keep the tyres on the road. But to be honest, you shouldn't really be complaining if you're actually able to make it into this championship. You just have to work with what you have. Debris down in 17th place. He was making his way up the order as well. He's got a 5-second time penalty. Nothing in this world is fair. That's why it's life. 0.4 of a second, however. UK Ball has gained on the Turkish driver in the number 31 of Mechanovic. It says 13. I'm going to have to fix that. Closing in just a little bit closer. If Mechanovic can make it away from the British driver, he'd be very lucky to. But he's just up, Alexa. We don't care. Because we're watching this. Also, any Apple users, if you thought that was Alexa, please leave a cheeky little subscribe. And here's the race start. And we go back to the action as Sanchez finds himself in the wall. If only we could get a replay of that now. That would be great. But instead, what we know is that Gamercat gaining on Sanchez. He sends it down the inside at the chicane. Gives him no room. And it's a virtual safety car as out of the race goes Sanchez. Missing part of his front wing, running over it in fact. And that's his day done. Lap 12 of 27 as the leaders approach that swimming pool chicane. 0.5 of a second between them. Virtual safety car ending then. And oh my goodness me, what's happened here? virtual safety car was going to end, but the Mechanovic is out now. UK Ball missing part of his front wing. There was still debris on the track. Someone else has gone out. Babnis is out! And Babnis has gone out of the E-Prix. The championship leader has just retired from the E-Prix, and the two championship protagonists left have both come in and are leading 1 and 2. Marcus Nelson stays out for another lap. He will inherit the lead of the E-Prix. Medixis comes out behind UK Ball, who should come out of this in 3rd place, I believe. Stone just about cuts him off at pit lane exit. Ravo right behind him at pit lane exit, but he's splitting the two of them. Medixis does not need this at all right now. And on the day, in the race, Arne Babnis could have taken his first ever World Championship here in the Formula E Monopoly Championship, or the FEMC for short. The swimming pool chicane comes in to chime in and say, "Nuh-uh." Genuinely confused what happened there, because as you can see, these guys coming through the chicane side by side. Someone else has gone off. That is not Catfish. That is Marcus Nelson who went off, as UK Ball sends it down the inside on his teammate, who stays out for another lap. 1.6 seconds between Nelson and UK Ball. 7 laps. Not even 7. I'm not very good at maths. 13 laps to go, and the man who used to drive the number 13 leads the way from the guy who took over the original number 13's seat. Medixis sets the fastest first sector of anyone as he closes in on Miles Stone, just trying to actually just find a little inroad if he could. If he could, he would get past him, but right now he's not able to. UK Ball closes in just a little bit closer to Marcus Nelson as Medixis does the exact same. He's got the outside line forced very wide there by the Nissan driver. He's got the inside line just about has enough space, and that is 3rd place for Medixis. And as for UK Ball, well, Marcus Nelson surely is putting up a fight here. Defense is the Swedish, Danish, British, whatever drivers is best military defense. This is why he won a championship last season. This is why he has the number 1. But that defense is not impenetrable as UK Ball goes to penetrate it and take the race lead from the number 1. As Lewis Hamilton and Aldridge both come into the pits on this lap. Matuko up into 8th because of the 2 drivers ahead of him coming into the pits. Nawawi, he's 4 seconds off the back of Enoch Huey, who is gaining on Matuko, who is also gaining on Gamercat. That's very wide. It's from Catfish, and you can see why he got past Ravo there. But Ravo in the wall. Track's been cleared, they say. My voice cracks so much whenever I do commentary, but I love this so much it could be a job. As down the inside, coming into Saint Devot. No heroics into Saint Devot, please, said his race engineer at the start. But Medixis with a heroic. The Greek driver up into 2nd place. Coming through Casino Square, now down into Maribor. And yeah, he's leaving Marcus Nelson away here. He's already put a whole second in between them because of those dead tyres the Mahindra's on. The sole Mahindra in this E-Prix, by the way. Very, very tenacious drivers here today. Look at that. Look at that soft tyre. 41%? That's not going to fly at all here. As we go on to lap 17 of 27, 10 to go, Alan Lee comes out of the pits, and he's got UK Ball right behind him, and he has now been lapped by UK Ball here. what was once a somewhat happy hunting ground for the Renault sport team, it is not that anymore. I mean, at least for you it is. But if you're not Yui, you're not loving this. As the Wally has been tagged into the wall. Look, with a 5-second time penalty, he's been tagged by not Lewis Hamilton here. Into the pits comes Muhammad Wally. That was a very scary incident indeed. He could have retired on the spot there. Luckily for him, he didn't. Medicis has now gotten past Alan Lee in his chase for the race win and his chase for the title. Oh, it's really, that is a real struggle to actually keep the car pointing in a straight line for Marcus Nelson. The fact that he's still going for another lap, though, the balls on that man. The top two might actually come into the pits at the end of this lap, though. 50-ish% tire wear. That is when the tires are going to start slipping and sliding around. As you see from Marcus Nelson, he is slipping and sliding quite a bit already. And into the wall there. That was Alan Lee in the wall. And ahead of him, I think that's Medicis ahead. Yeah, that is Medicis ahead of him. So he got past, but was forced to hand the position back, basically against his will, because he just went off. Into the pits comes Debris. Marcus Nelson comes through the chicane. How is he keeping it out of the wall? This is astounding stuff from him to actually keep his car pointing in the right direction as the top. As U-Cable comes in, Medicis stays out. So he holds his position, Catfish in. Will Nelson stay out? No, Nelson comes in as well. Medicis stays out in the lead of the Prix, even though his softs have gone off that cliff. He's trying to lap Alan Lee so then he can lap Debris. But there's literally no way he can actually keep that car of his pointing in a straight direction to actually lap the two cars ahead of him. Alan Lee, went very wide there. Does he have an issue on his car? Medicis snaking his way through the swimming pool chicane. U-Cable far behind him, 9 seconds behind him, but he's got the better tire to actually race on with 8 laps to go. Alan Lee still on the back of Medicis, who should be coming into the pits at the end of this lap, but he doesn't. He stays out. 43% tire wear. That is not smart at all. He's getting unlapped by Alan Lee here with 7 to go. Now, obviously, ERT are hoping to keep him out as long as possible to attack U-Cable with maximum force. But if you're staying out on these tyres, you run the risk of course, retiring on the spot. And, of course, U-Cable, 5 seconds down the road, he's losing out a ton of time here. Just fighting with Alan Lee, not even over position, overlapping him, because it's not clear which one of the two cars is faster. So coming into the swimming pool chicane, Medicis may be ahead, but he's not going to clean the tyres, and into the wall goes Medicis. He's just about saved the car there. Same with U-Cable, actually. The 89 on 89% tyre wear, now 88 sadly, so it's not perfect. 3 seconds is the gap between the top two. He has to come in at the end of this lap. He does come in at the end of this lap, so U-Cable will have the race lead. Alan Lee, however, also comes in. And someone else has gone off there. Is that Revo who's gone off? I don't think it is. Could have been, but I don't think it was. Medicis really is dropping down the order here with that late pit stop. And I don't think it's paid off. He's currently in 6th. He has come out in 6th place. Revo and Marcus Nelson, these two drivers, they've got a bit of a history together. Not Lewis Hamilton comes into pits on this lap as Marcus Nelson is now ahead of Revo. And now his stellar defense can be on display to the world. Doesn't even need that. He's blasted off from the Italian driver. 6 to go then, and UK ball. And he's had quite the race, hasn't he? Ups and downs, but you could say that about the whole grid. Aldridge getting a bit of understeer there through Mirabeau. Through the tunnel they go. 5 more laps before we head to London. Into the pits comes Ravo, and he's going to go into the medium compound of tyre. I think he could have gotten away with coming in for softs, but mediums it is for him. Catfish setting the fastest first sector of anyone, but remember, he does have a 5-second time penalty over his head. And I think I understand what Nissan are doing here. They've kept out Milestone to work as a bit of a stopgap against anyone else who might actually want to try and get past UK ball here. Because he's on very worn tyres, but they're counting on him to defend. And that's got to be quite a bit of pressure on the South African's shoulder. Remember, Milestone was originally a Jaguar development driver. He's bumped into the other Jaguar of Catfish. On to lap 23, as into the pits comes Milestone, but more in his history, he was a Jaguar junior driver. And he was called up to the Nissan seat after Ravo left the team in very controversial circumstances, not being much of a team player, coming from the team principal of Sure Yeah at the time. And yeah, that defensive tactic from Nissan, it didn't really work. Because Stone didn't actually slow the Catfish that much. 6 seconds is the gap between them. That is not pit stop safety. In fact, Medicis is inside that pit stop gap. Pit stops are about 20 seconds here, so yeah, Stone is where UK ball's going to come out if he does come into the pits. We've got 4 laps to go then, here in the streets of Monte Carlo. 3 to go. Sorry, it's 3 to go now. Very close to the end of the Prix. And most of the time, here in Monte Carlo, this is the race where you see so much parity occur. Not Lewis Hamilton coming up to alongside Inocui, and Inocui's in the wall. Gamer Cat's coming to the pits, but you in the wall with front wing damage. They say the track's been cleared, but into the pits he comes. Very shaky pit lane entry. And yeah, those soft tyres, they've held on better than at most other races, but still not very well at all. On to lap 25 then. Catfish, he's quite a ways back from UK ball here. He lost the race in Season 8, remember, because of a 5-second time penalty. And he could win. He lost out because he had quite a bit of damage. And even with Blade of Dragon Sonic's 5-second time penalty, he did just about manage to come back, did BDS, and win. But now, BDS is gone. You've got a different man who lives in Britain leading the way. And it's UK ball coming through the chicane near the swimming pool. Catfish behind. 6 seconds behind. Bit of a struggle on that. Jag was not actually able to close in at all. And into the pits comes Debray. And he's on 54% tyre wear. Same as UK ball, actually. Now, while he's setting the fastest third sector of anyone. Debray in the pits now on the penultimate lap of the Prix. If you don't come into the pits at the end of this lap, you do not have another shot to come into the pits. So, for the top two, this might actually be the tyres they finish on. Medicis gaining on Marcus Nelson, whose tyres have gone off the cliff. 42% tyre wear for Marcus Nelson. And you'd be worried for him to actually make the end of the race at all. Because of, look at that! Down the inside goes Medicis on Marcus Nelson. What a move! Into Mirabeau. Takes advantage of the lower traction that Nelson has. And just takes the position right out of his throat. Yui on the back of UK Ball. He's a lapped car now. As coming through the final two turns. And I think Yui's in the pits. No, Yui is still staying out. Yui got past UK Ball. Won the final lap of the Prix then. And the top runners struggling on the tyres. The only one who truly isn't is Medicis here. But Milestone's teammate, Milestone, he won his first race in the championship, I believe, here in Monaco. His teammate about to do something very similar. He's about to lead the World Drivers' Championship for the first time if he can just make it to the end here in Monaco. Coming into the swimming pool chicane, Milestone's ending the fastest first sector. Everyone's so worried about him. Almost in the wall. What's the British driver? Heart and mouth moment once again for him and his team. But as he comes through the final sector, he can finally say he's leading the championship. And with one lap and with one race to go, as Nelson's gone into the wall and I think Ravo's gone into the wall. UK Ball wins the Monte Carlo E-Prix as out of the race goes is Marcus Nelson. UK Ball leads is the World Drivers' Championship for the first time in his career. Catfish second. He's going to be demoted a few positions. He's going to be demoted to third. So that will mean that Medicis is second. The top two, after penalties are handed out, will be as it is in the World Drivers' Championship. But look at how worrying it is on the tyres here. Nawawi sliding around. And like he's on ice, to be honest. Gamercat coming home in 6th place. Not Lewis Hamilton rounding out the final two turns. And he will come home to be in 7th from Aldridge, Batuco and Mohamed Nawawi. The drivers are lap down were Yui, Debris and Alan Lee. And this is your podium then. UK Ball takes his first ever victory around the streets of Monte Carlo from Medicis and Catfish. Then it's Milestone, Ravo, Gamercat, not Lewis Hamilton and Aldridge. Batuco, Mohamed Nawawi round out your points finishers, and Inokui, Debris and Alan Lee round out your finishers. The non-finishers were Marcus Nelson on the final lap, Mechanovic, Ionet Babness, the former championship leader, Dav Sanchez, Yusuf, Polarock, Gamercat, Piciata and El Carlos. In the driver's standings, UK Ball leads the way on 124 points. Plain Rock 124 would be rolling around at the speed of sound. And he's ahead of Ionet Babness on 155 points. That is a 9 points in deficit that Ionet Babness is currently in. And that is a 25-point swing in the championship. Medicis third on 110 points. And don't count him out, he's only 14 points down. And then it's Catfish, Ciara, El Carlos, Ravo, Milestone, Nawawi, Yusuf, Mechanovic, Nelson, Gamercat, Aldridge, not Lewis Hamilton, Alan Lee tied with Gallagher, Debris tied with Polarock and Dav Sanchez, Batuco and Enoch Yui. In the constructors' standings, coming into the final race of the championship in London, Nissan Racing lead the way on 192 points, from Envision on 184 and ERT on 176. 2 points back, you'll find Jaguar, and then it's Mercedes EQ on 147. Mahindra's up next on 125, then Dragon on 88, Venturi on 79, DS Cheetah on 64, Renault Sport on 48, and in last place it's App Schaeffler Audi Sport on 40 points. We'll see you next time then for the London E Prix, the finale to the Formula E Monoposto Championship.